beside you on the way that you have chosen. Fear would be impossible if you but knew the meaning of His love. Fear would be impossible. So walk in glory with your head held high, and fear no evil, for I'll walk there by your side. And walk in glory with your head held high, and fear no evil, for I'll walk there by your side. That's a little piece of a song that I did based on today's reading. We're on chapter 18 of A Course in Miracles, and the chapter is called The Passing of the Dream. And this section is section 3, and it's called Light in the Dream. Here we go. You who have spent your life in bringing truth to illusion, reality to fantasy, have walked the way of dreams. For you have gone from waking to sleeping, and on to a yet deeper sleep. Each dream has led to other dreams, and every fantasy that seemed to bring a light into the darkness, but made the darkness deeper. Your goal was darkness, in which no ray of light could enter, and you sought a blackness so complete that you could hide from truth forever in complete insanity. What you forgot was simply that God cannot destroy Himself. The light is in you. Darkness can cover it, but cannot put it out. As the light comes nearer, you will rush to darkness, shrinking from the truth, sometimes retreating to the lesser forms of fear, and sometimes to stark terror. But you will advance because your goal is the advance from fear to truth. The goal you accepted is the goal of knowledge, for which you signified your willingness. Fear seems to live in darkness, and when you are afraid, you have stepped back. Let us then join quickly in an instant of light, and it will be enough to remind you that your goal is light. Truth has rushed to meet you since you called upon it. If you knew who walks beside you on the way that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. You do not know because the journey into darkness has been long and cruel, and you have gone deep into it. A little flicker of your eyelids closed so long has not yet been sufficient to give you confidence in yourself, so long despised. You go toward love, still hating it, and terribly afraid of its judgment upon you. And you do not realize that you are not afraid of love, but only of what you have made of it. You are advancing to love's meaning and away from all illusions in which you have surrounded it. When you retreat to the illusion, your fear increases, for there is little doubt that what you think it means is fearful. Yet what is that to us who travel surely and very swiftly away from fear? You who hold your brother's hand also hold mine, for when you joined each other, you were not alone. Do you believe that I would leave you in the darkness, that you agreed to leave with me? In your relationship is this world's light, and fear must disappear before you now. Be tempted not to snatch away the gift of faith you offer to your brother. You will succeed only in frightening yourself. The gift is given forever, for God Himself received it. You cannot take it back. You have accepted God. The holiness of your relationship is established in heaven. You do not understand what you accepted, but remember that your understanding is not necessary. All that was necessary was merely the wish to understand. That wish was the desire to be holy. The will of God is granted you, for you desire the only thing you ever had or ever were. Each instant that we spend together will teach you that this goal is possible and will strengthen your desire to reach it. And in your desire lies its accomplishment. Your desire is now in complete accord with all the power of the Holy Spirit's will. No little faltering footsteps that you may take can separate your desire from His will and from His strength. I hold your hand as surely as you agreed to take your brother's. You will not separate, for I stand with you and walk with you in your advance to truth. And where we go, we carry God with us. In your relationship, you have joined with me in bringing heaven to the Son of God who hid in darkness. You have been willing to bring the darkness to light, and this willingness has given strength to everyone who would remain in darkness. Those who would see will see, and they will join with me in carrying their light into the darkness when the darkness in them is offered to the light and is removed forever. My need for you, join with me in the holy light of your relationship, is your need for salvation. Would I not give you what you gave to me? For when you joined your brother, you answered me. You who are now the bringer of salvation have the function of bringing light to darkness. The darkness in you has been brought to light. Carry it back to darkness from the holy instant to which you brought it. You are made whole in our desire to make whole. Let not time worry you, for all the fear that you and your brother experience is really past. Time has been readjusted to help us do together what your separate parts would hinder. You have gone past fear, for no two minds can join in the desire for love without loves joining them. Not one light in heaven, but goes with you. Not one ray that shines forever in the mind of God, but shines on you. Heaven is joined with you in your advance to heaven. When such great lights have joined with you to give the little spark of your desire the power of God himself, can you remain in darkness? You and your brother are coming home together after a long and meaningless journey that you undertook apart and that led nowhere. You have found your brother, and you will light each other's way. And from this light will the great rays extend back into darkness and forward unto God, to shine away the past, and so make room for his eternal presence, in which everything is radiant in the light. Okay, this is from chapter 18, the passing of the dream, and this section is called Light in the Dream. Obviously, light and dark symbolism is used a lot in this passage. Jesus is still talking about the dreaming. It might be helpful to clarify, not to clarify, but this will help clarify, to talk more about Helen. I don't think it's a mistake to bring Helen in, because she was the scribe. She, together with Bill Thetford, they were partners in crime here. They were co-scribes together. Helen received the dictation and took it down in shorthand notation, and Bill typed it up on the typewriter, and he also was moral support for her in the process. Helen was very reluctant in many ways. So I want to mention a couple things that I think are useful in understanding this passage. One was a vision that Helen had before the dictation of A Course in Miracles started. She had this vision. It wasn't a dream. As I understand it, it was more of a vision that she had, a waking vision that she had. She was on a river, and she was in a boat, and it was on a body of water. It might not have been a river, but she went to the other side of the body of water. She got out of the boat. She found a cave, and in the cave, she found a hole, and in the hole, she found a treasure chest, and in the treasure chest, she found a scroll. And she opened the scroll, and in the center of the scroll, it said, God is. To the left, she understood that she could, if she went to the left of God is and unrolled the scroll that way, she understood that she could understand all the past. And if she went to the right and unrolled the scroll to the right, she could understand all of the future. But in the vision, what she thought to herself, no, I am just going to stay with God is. And she heard a voice, which I think must have been Jesus, that said, you got it right that time. Got it right that time. So that was one indication that Helen was ready, that she was willing to stay with that God is. She wasn't interested in becoming a psychic master of psychic powers. She could know all the past, she could know all the future, but she made the decision, I don't want any of that. I just want to know God. One other, I think, highly significant event was when Bill made his speech where he said there has to be a better way. He was very upset, and he was saying, there has to be a way that we can all get together, get along together, and be at peace together instead of fighting all the time. And Helen apparently, I don't know what she did. She touched him, or she held his hand, and she said, Bill, you're right, and I want to help you. And Helen really knew from the start, from what she said, she understood from the start that she was there to be in a holy relationship. She might not have understood in those terms at that point, but she understood that she was there to do some kind of spiritual work with Bill. Bill might not have been fully cognizant of it right at the beginning, but I think he was later, of course. Now, the Course is, in many ways, is talking directly to Helen and Bill. So you have to understand it in that light, that Jesus is talking directly to Helen, and like in this passage, he's telling her, you have made the decision for God. It's not going to be easy, but you're on your way, right? And then Helen and Bill realized that the Course really was for everyone. It's not just for them. Let's read some of this. As the light comes nearer, you will rush to darkness, shrinking from the truth, sometimes retreating to the lesser forms of fear, and sometimes to stark terror. But you will advance because your goal is the advance from fear to truth. The goal you accepted is the goal of knowledge, for which you signified your willingness, right? So Helen signified her willingness to seek for the truth. Fear seems to live in darkness, and when you are afraid, you have stepped back. Let us then join quickly in an instant of light. That's the holy instant. And it will be enough to remind you that your goal is light. So Jesus is saying that you've made that decision. You've made the decision for God. You're on your way, right? Now, you will sometimes retreat. You're on the road, you're on the way, but there will be moments where you seem to go back. There will be moments where you falter in your steps. I like to think of this in, today we're in a psychedelic renaissance right now. There was a story in the news of this guy on a plane. He was sitting in the there was the captain, there was the pilot of the plane, and then he was sitting behind the pilot. He was like a pilot of a different plane that was just going on this plane back to where he needed to go. And apparently a couple days earlier he had taken magic mushroom. He had tried magic mushrooms, and on the plane he basically I forget what he did exactly, but he put everyone's lives in jeopardy, and now he's facing like 90 counts of attempted manslaughter or something like that. So crazy. But you're going to hear stories like that. But anyway, the point being is that we're in a psychedelic renaissance. Psychedelics are everywhere right now. It's not going, it's not going to go away anytime soon. My point being is that with psychedelics, it's like when you take a psychedelic, you are, especially when you take it in a sacramental way, you are making the decision that I want to know. I want to know the truth. Now, with psychedelic, you may have a difficult time, and you may even have a really, really, a trip where you have stark terror that comes your way. Now, you don't need a psychedelic to be in terror. I mean, there's many ways to be terrified. We can be terrified at night when we have a dream. There's times I know from my own, experience, there are times when I have dreams where my heart is racing, or it's almost like I had a heart attack or something, because the dream is very scary. So we can get into our fear in different ways, and Jesus is saying, yes, but know that there will be an end to the fear. If you go on this journey, you can work through all of your fear. Truth has rushed to meet you since you called upon it. If you knew who walks beside you on the way that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. So if you knew that Jesus, who's walking beside you, the Holy Spirit, have no fear, they're in a place of absolutely no fear and no judgment, you would realize that there's no need for fear, because if they can do it, you can do it. They're not any different than you. We are all the same. We're all in the same boat. Jesus is just your elder brother, right? And that's what he says about himself. He's not way up there in the sense that you can't attain to what he attained. He was mortal, just as we are. And he did this process, and he's commending it to us to do this process. And in doing this process, we can work through all of our fear and reach to that place of oneness with the Holy Spirit, and ultimately oneness with God. So he's saying this is possible. He's also saying, you who are now the bringer of salvation have the function of bringing light to darkness. Who brings light to darkness? Not only the Holy Spirit, not only Jesus, but you. And also in the Hindu tradition, it's the guru, right? In the Eastern traditions, it is the guru. I'm thinking mainly of Hinduism right now, but the guru is the one who brings light to the darkness. So not only are you a teacher of God when you are practice the Course, but you also are a guru. Now, you might not all be all the way there. It's a question of whether gurus are. Some may not. Some may be all the way there, and some maybe not. But I don't think we need to say too much more, except that there's many echoes here to things that Jesus said in the Gospels, like when two or more are gathered in my name. Jesus is saying that you and your brother do this work together. Helen and Bill. When you do this work together, where you see your brother, see the other in the highest light, see the perfection, see that everything is perfect. There's no need for judgment. There's no need for fear. When you do that with your brother, that work, it doesn't have to be with your brother. It could just be with yourself, that you do that inner work. Then everyone goes home together. All right, I hope this was helpful. I do tend to ramble. I'm a rambling man, but I hope some of the things I'm saying have been useful, helpful. The next section is called The Little Willingness. All right, see you soon. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.